how do you measure the results of all this activity, of this tremendous, what somebody called, I think, speed dating all the great powers in the first year? It's hard to measure. I think it's successful. I think it's laid the basis for the future. I think it's done what it should do in the first year. I mean, first years are wonderful things because governments are free to do things and do them in their own way, which later inertia and so on sets in. The reason it's hard to measure is because the one thing that's missing is a strategic vision, a framework, a foreign policy, an overarching foreign policy framework from this government. And I have been urging them that they really need to put this out, because then you're no longer just reacting to events or to what other people do. Momentum, successful policy that you carry on from the past can only carry you so far, but the world changes. And you need to have criteria or metrics by which you measure what is important to you, because every government of India so far, since 1947, has had one single criteria to measure foreign policy and what is important, what isn't: the transformation of India. And that's essential. You need to transform India. This government, for the first time, is much more strident about recognition of India's great power status. I mean, that's something that all Indians take for granted, that India is a great power. But whether to obtain recognition of it or not. Now, we're lucky. In today's situation, frankly, there isn't much difference between seeking the transformation of India and recognition of India's great power status. But conceivably, there is a gap between these two things. They could lead you in different directions at some stage. Because, frankly, you do need to choose what your goal is. And until they make it clear what their strategic goal is and how they frame Indian policy, it's very hard to say, yes, this policy succeeded or didn't succeed. The last point I'd like to make is that success or not in this foreign policy, no matter how they set the goals or how much they try and shift the goal from what it has been so far, is really going to be dependent on what the previous panel was talking about their domestic success in India. I mean, the fundamentals, the economic fundamentals are sound. In the medium, long term, I'm pretty sure that India will do well, and you will have the basis for a successful foreign policy abroad, as we've had. I mean, that's what 6.5% growth over 35 years gives you. It has given us a successful foreign policy, and unfortunately, we've started taking it for granted at home. People take it for granted that ambassadors like Arun Singh can deliver and will deliver, and I'm sure they will. But whether or not this can be sustained will depend on what happens at home.